You ever get that you're thrown into a situation where nobody gave you a manual or description of what really to expect and you have to deal with it? So I want to start about 13.8 billion years ago. Something happened, a little tiny thing called the Big Bang. The universe was created. My fascination in the beginning, when I started to understand that there are some very beautiful equations. And of course, being a proper nerd, you can put all that information into a computer and try and simulate the whole universe, which is what we did. So with just a few simple equations, we managed to reconstruct 13.8 billion years of evolution of our universe. Pretty neat. So what does this mean? We can model reality. Well, that's not a new idea. Already Galileo Galilei in 1623 said, well, if you want to understand this universe, if you want to understand this experience, you have to learn the language. And the language is mathematics. Actually, I speak from the deepest part of my heart when I say that by the end of this night, I hope you don't believe a single word of what I've said. But I'm not done with your mind yet. I need it a little bit longer. I want to show you, actually I want to prove to you, that no matter what holds true in this reality, no matter what you might experience, that these two statements are irrefutable. Just as we managed to predict 13.8 billion years of evolution and come out with something indistinguishable from what we see around us, so must these two statements also be true. So this equation is maybe a bit more familiar. This is maybe a bit more the reality you're used to. You take one and you take one, you add them together and you get two. This Bertrand Russell guy was quite smart. He tried to prove that this is true. Well, using these very obvious notation, they developed a logical foundation for mathematics. They wanted to prove once and for all what is real and what is true. It took them 158 pages just to prove that 1 + 1 = 2. But every time when they tried to continue this, and what they were making was basically a system to know for sure if a statement is true or not. Basically, to have the ultimate brain power, to have the ultimate understanding. I now know for sure this is so and that's not. And every fucking time something like this goes up. Well, it's a problem, right? If the barber shaves all men that don't shave themselves, if he starts shaving himself, he is suddenly a man that is shaving himself, so he can no longer shave himself. And if he doesn't shave himself, well, he's the one that shaves him. Well, for this one, the answer is simple. The barber has a beard. But there are other statements where every time you get into this problem. And they failed every time to create a system that was foolproof. 10 years later, this guy shows up. Gödel, an Austrian mathematician, crazy as fuck, very smart. And he goes to show, and just skip this one, I have a translation, that no matter how perfect your system is, it doesn't matter. There will always be things that cannot be explained within that system. So where does this leave our beautiful mind? Where does this leave your smartness, your intelligence, if you try to solve your way through life using that? You never know what's true. So even this model starts to look suspicious. And maybe it would be much more logical to put it in a circle. Because mathematics, what I've made here, maybe let's give a little explanation. We went from physics to biology to consciousness, our experience. And in our experience, we have ideas. sometimes called memes, as ideas have their own way of living, just like genes. Well, mathematics are our kind of ideas. So the universe is actually built on something that we're creating in our minds. Interesting. I have a question for you. If I would give you one solid sphere, let's say chocolate, and I could tell you, you could double that, just as is, would you believe me? Well, with chocolate it's going to be hard, because chocolate isn't infinite. But when dealing with infinite things, strange things happen. And there is this crazy mathematical proof called the Banach-Tarski paradox. That you can actually take a solid sphere and cut it up in 5 pieces. One being the center and 4 other pieces. 5, one being the center, 4 other pieces. If I take 2 of these pieces, I can rotate them, make one full sphere again. Hey, I have 2 left. Rotate them, make one full sphere of them. I'm not going to explain that to you. You can watch a beautiful YouTube video. It takes about 20 minutes, and okay, you have to pay a little attention. But even without any mathematical education, you can understand that this is actually possible. Under one condition. If you have infinite choices, you must believe that it's possible to make a choice. If you don't believe that, then this whole mathematical proof falls down. This to me tells me it's very important that you have to believe that whatever happens in life, you have a choice. And if you believe that, then you can create something out of nothing. Give something 1 and you get 2 for free. Why did I put you all through this horrible history lesson about the history of mathematics? It's this little theory of everything. With pain in my heart, this week Stephen Hawking died, who spent his life coming up with the theory of everything under physics. Well, I'm trying to one-up him. This is my theory of everything, not only for physics, but also for consciousness. That whatever you believe, whatever kind of system you have in your mind of what's right, what's wrong, what should be done or what should not be done, what is beautiful or what is ugly, you will always find circumstances where your beliefs don't hold true. And reality as we know it cannot be understood in terms of right and wrong, up and down, or basically in any language. This is a beautiful picture of an example of something like this. This is the cover of the book Gödel, Escher, Bach by Douglas Hofstadter. It took me 10 years to read it. It's dense. But I have something here that I cannot see. And this is our perception of reality. So is this an E, is this a G, or is this a B? Depending on the perspective of what I look on it, this thing changes shape. We cannot see it normally, but it's there. But all we know, and all we've just shown, that with Gödel, I know that if I start describing this thing in terms of a system, in a system of words, that I will not cover its essence, that there will be things outside of it. This is fun. This is fun. Anyone here familiar with computers? And what happens if I just start applying all these rules over and over again? Just like we had this circle of before, of mathematics, physics, biology, consciousness, ideas, mathematics. If I just start applying that over and over and over and over again, interesting things start to happen. Now I have here a universe just of tiny little boxes where all these rules are applied. And as you can see, suddenly, somehow, you see patterns moving across. You see stable objects that form. And if you start looking through your oogharen, to your eyelashes, you start to see that even in a system, in a universe as simple as this, I can build something that simulates itself. What you see here is a simulation simulating itself. This is the game of life on a bigger scale, built out of tiny little things. It's been actually proven that you can build a universal Turing machine, which is basically a computer, out of these simple boxes and solve any problem that is computationally solvable. This is my way of trying to seduce you. My main message, and a little homage to Hobbit, there are many belief systems in this world, and many smart and dedicated people who've spent eons in monasteries trying to understand the nature of consciousness, the nature of what it means to be human. This is Lao Tzu. He lived 500 years before Christ, and he basically came with the same conclusion as Gödel. Gödel proved it mathematically, but... So this is a very important piece of information, that whatever thoughts are in your mind, they cannot be completely true. So I want to invite you for another little experiment. Find somebody next to you and turn your chairs toward each other. Time to put that mind at rest a bit. And I'm going to invite you to do something that you normally never do in life. Well, not often at least, or often enough. And that's to look another person in the eye. And specifically the left eye, using your own left eye. So everybody point to your own left eye and look at each other. Point, seriously, it helps, so the other person knows, like, okay, with this eye I'm going to look in that. And immediately you might start noticing that you have all kinds of urges to make facial expressions. To somehow tell this other person, hey, it's safe, or hey, I'm nervous. I want to invite you to refrain from doing that. And just as you sat silently before with closed eyes in your own little bubble universe, I invite you now to be part of this joint universe. And if this circle of mathematics, physics, biology, consciousness, ideas is really true, then I can just shift perspective. And not physics is the most fundamental thing in the universe, but consciousness. That it's actually the universe itself that is conscious. And when you're looking this other person in the eye, it's actually you looking back at yourself. And everything in your mind that tells you that's not the case, it's just programming from your brain. It tries to keep you safe. So everybody take a deep breath in through your nose, deep into your belly, and exhale. How good are you at just being? Not having to smile, not having to keep up appearances. moment of truth. And if you can relax, just keep looking the other person in the eye. Not moving your focus away from their left eye. Very good. Looking at that universe looking back at you. Maybe you see all kinds of visual distortions. Maybe their face changes color. Maybe everything else around you disappears. And while you're looking at this eye, can you still be present with yourself? Can you still be present with the feeling of your legs on the chair, your feet on the ground, your hands maybe clasped or resting on your legs? Or are there all kinds of thoughts trying to distract you? Distract you from this moment of unity, this moment of exploration. And if that's the case, welcome them. Welcome any emotion. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just proven to you. It's not possible. There's just this moment in a never-ending circle. Just as a bonus experiment, I want to invite you, if you're slouching your shoulders or if you're leaning forward, to really straighten your back and to meet this other person with your chest. Your shoulders pulled back, pulled down, and presenting your most vulnerable part, your heart, your chest to them. And even though you might have never met this person, maybe you're very familiar with them, can you open your heart to them? To see that this person in front of you, just like you, tries to do his best. Can you see the best part of yourself in them? So why, besides that it's, I think, a rare human gift to spend 5 minutes just looking at each other, not wanting anything, just being present. It's a little trick that can open many doors. First, you really get to familiarize yourself with all your social anxieties. Is this normal? What would this other person think of me that I'm now looking for so long, so directly in somebody else's eye? It can be relaxing. Hey, I see you. Yeah, you can see me. And everything else falls away and can help in meditation. It's even a doorway to hack your own consciousness. It's a doorway to link two nervous systems together. They've shown with research that if two people connect in this way, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later, that their brains actually become synchronized. that if you go into an fMRI scanner and afterwards you're holding that person's hands and somebody gets a needle prick, that their partner's pain center lights up. So you're really sharing a reality on a deep, deep level. Now that we know that we can't trust our thoughts, it doesn't mean certain thoughts or models are not incredibly useful. Biology is, neurology is, physics is. And if I would want you to take anything away from this, is these three things. That in every moment, regardless of what your mind is telling you, it's incredibly important to stick out that chest. Feels uncomfortable, especially if you don't feel secure. But I will try to show to you that the thoughts that are possible in your brain, in your mind, depend on the posture of your body. Let's have a break first. Take care.